Yeah. Welcome to the show. It's the #1 show. Interviews and music, podcast, integrate the culture through the times. Just sit back and chill. It's the roots and rhymes, roots and rhymes, roots and rhymes. Just sit back and chill. It's the roots and rhymes. All you really need is some roots and rhymes, roots and rhymes, roots and rhymes.
So, Mac, this one we've been trying to make happen for a little while. I'm really excited about this one. How you feeling?
Been looking forward to this one. It's very rare that you get the opportunity to interview a real giant in the industry, and not only someone who's got an incredible amount of success to their name, but someone who's grown up in the same area that you have grown up, and you've seen their career progress firsthand. It's an incredible opportunity to interview this person. I'm sure we're going to learn so much today.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think within the industry now, he defines the term international rock star, and the next guest today has more than earned his place. It's going to be a really good one today. So this week we have on the show a real superstar. He defines the term artist and visionary within the music industry. From humble beginnings in Bradford to the suburbs of Brampton, now he's pioneering Bombay. And of course, when he's not too busy being a musician, he's dabbling in a little bit of fashion. I'd like to extend a very, very warm welcome to a fellow Yorkshireman, Manj Musik. How you doing, brother?
How we doing? That's a major intro right there, and it's a super major intro. I like it. Even though I'm not worthy of any of that, but fair view to you.
You're definitely worthy of it. I'm sure Chans didn't find that hard to write, because your success and your career speaks for itself.
No worries, man. Thank you so much. It's already made, and whatever we've done just by hard work, man.
No, welcome to the podcast. It's really good to have you on. So geographically, where are you right now?
Now I'm in Toronto. I'm in Toronto. So we usually come back here for the summer. So we're back in Toronto for the summer. Enjoy the summer out here, join up with friends and fam, and just chill. And then back into Bombay by September, October, and then again here in the summer.
So you kind of split your
time. And then whenever I get time.
Places.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're back and forth. So we're here, then in India, and then whenever we get a bit of time, we come to England as well.
Yeah. So okay. So is Toronto kind of your home now, and not so much England or Mumbai? Is that what you say your base is back in Toronto?
I don't. You know what? I always say your base is where your family is, because we don't know where we are nowadays. So right now, we're blessed that Nupi is doing homeschooling, and he's doing really well with his homeschooling. We have a tutor that travels and whatnot. So we're very, very blessed in that sense. So we always stick together. We're always together no matter what. We get a lot of mails from people saying, "Oh, parda nahi, school nahi janda, flana." Obviously he does, and he's doing his schooling and everything.
Of course.
But wherever we are together, that's home for us.
Oh, good. That's great to hear. But congratulations on the new release, Shagari, featuring the Commandments. Great tune, absolutely wicked tune. I heard it the other day, and also caught your Insta Live on the weekend. That was really good. So how's the response been to that so far?
Response been really good. I mean, obviously everybody's saying, is this the next Desi hip hop? Is this the next Desi hip hop? We're waiting for this hip hop too. So as soon as I get more than one rapper on a track, all of a sudden it becomes Desi hip hop, the next version. So
yeah,
but it has been a good response, of course, and it's just new talent, man. It's new talent. I mean, they were on records earlier on, and this time it was my first feature with them. Because I could see the talent. I could see them shining. So that's why I was like, okay, let's push it.
Great.
That must be really rewarding for you to have been in the industry so long, where you're now giving back and helping raise the new generation of artists.
Yeah, because you know what? I think the biggest thing with any artist is a simple fact that you need to understand when you need to understand and be able to accept that your time will come.
Right.
That's the biggest problem that every artist has in this industry. They think one other time, they're going to be forever green, and they're going to be going forever, and I'm just going to keep releasing songs forever. Yeah, you know what? You can always be young, technically minded, and say, I want to keep doing stuff. But at one point, there's more talent coming out there. There's bigger people. There's people who are releasing better stuff than you from what you used to. I mean, everything that I've done as RDB, as then went into Manj Musik, is great. But tomorrow there's going to be somebody else who's going to do something
absolutely
better. if not better, equal to whatever it is. So we need to accept that fact. Now, what I've done is I've accepted that fact that, you know what, my time will come at one point, but before that time is completely up and done, and I'm like retired and sitting at home doing chilling, I can at least push new talent and give them a platform for new talent. So that's what I do, and it is rewarding. It's really I feel really proud when some of these guys, I mean, from Raftaras, from what he was to what he is today, is, you know, he's a legend now.
Absolutely, and he's a household name in India now. I mean, especially with the hip hop movement over there. I mean, the Commandments, they're based out of West Delhi, so is that kind of new for that side of things? Because a lot of this the hip hop scene kind of is big in Mumbai, but I didn't really see it moving its way to Delhi. But there seems to be a lot of new artists and grassroots rappers and stuff going on over there, right?
Yeah, there's loads. I mean, the hip hop movement has been huge in India from Bohemia's days. In fact, before Bohemia's days, when we're going into like the like some really old school hip hop kind of stuff. What happened is that it just wasn't mainstream. It wasn't commercial. It wasn't commercial. It was always underground. And Bombay hip hop has been there, but more gully Bombay rap. That's what it's been. It's all been gully rap.
I do want to talk to you about the gully rap and stuff a little bit later on, because it's a big movement that you've been involved in, and obviously there's been a lot of success with it over the last few years as well. So we'll move on to that a little bit later on.
Rewind. Let's take it back. Know your roots.
There's no doubt where you are right now as a result of real grind, dedication, and vision. I want to focus on Manj's personal journey, but it's very difficult to separate that from the early success of RDB. But I think we have to start right at the beginning. So even well before RDB, which we'll move on to a little bit later, music was always an important part of your early childhood. What and who were your key musical influences when growing up?
See, when it comes to, there's two elements of what we grew up with in music. One is obviously the religious side of it, of music. Which when we used to, obviously being in Bradford and when we grew up, we used to go to the Gurdwara and we used to do Kirtan with Dad. I used to play Baja, Koli Paji used to play Tabla, Koli Paji also used to do Tabla lessons, and I used to play the Sargam for that whilst he's learning the Tabla and so on. So all these things, we started from the religious side of it, of like just understanding music. Obviously Dad always used to push us to say, yo, tusi rag sikh lo, flana sikh lo, this, that, tabla sikh lo, changi tarah, whatever it is, learn it properly.
Absolutely.
Then, I mean, let's just be frank here. Religious music is very different to obviously Bhangra music and blah blah blah. It's a religious, it's a different life. So as much as we was doing it, was we enjoying doing it? Maybe as little kids, we was like, okay, this is really cool. This is good. This is cool. But it wasn't very exciting. It wasn't exciting. We knew that we were doing a good thing. We knew we was going to go to do Kirtan, which is really good for us. We knew that, you know, people were very proud of us, what we were doing. But it wasn't exciting for us. That's where my mom's side of the family came in, which is my mama, who had a Bhangra band. His Bhangra band is what gives us that excitement in music. That's what took us from we do, because in every interview all you ever hear is when we talk about it's a Kirtan karde hunde se and from Kirtan we started doing music. Well, no, that's not really true. We did Kirtan, of course, but the excitement of doing music in Bhangra and this kind of stuff came from Mama's side. And that was because he had a band called Nazrana, his band was. And then he was connected to Alap, the band. They were all friends from London. So we was listening to all that stuff. We was meeting some of the, you know, Alap's drummer, who is Sunil Kalyan's father. Sunil Kalyan, who's the tabla player now. You know what I mean? So we connected in that circle in a way. And even my cousin, who was my mama's son, Amar, he was into music, and he was into playing tabla, tolkis, and making music, which gave us some excitement into trying to do something different in music. That's kind of what the ignition was. And then after that, it was just basically, we just tried every way, any way possible to try to make whatever we possibly can musically through any computer we could get hold of, from the oldest of the oldest to the newest of the newest.
So I mean, obviously growing up in Bradford as well, your dad used to recite absolute beautiful Kirtan at the Gurdwara. But I think you touched on something really good, and I think it's worth mentioning that, the Kirtan didn't give you the excitement, but did it allow you to kind of open yourself up into this world of melodies and understanding how music is almost constructed and how to play music and have that mindset of being a musician?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I
part?
think it was kind of already in our blood because obviously Dad knew how to do kirtan and he knew how things, so it was kind of in our blood anyway. And then from my mom's side, from my mama's side, he was already musically, so it was in our blood to kind of pick it up quickly.
Yeah.
But not necessarily like did we all pick it up. I mean, Serge did not pick up making music and playing keyboards and blah blah blah. He took interest in more, I'll play a bit of dol, I'll play a bit of tabla, a little bit of dolki here and there, which we kind of pushed him to learn. But it was all really, it was based on what we wanted to do. Out of all three of us, I had a massive kira in my head that I wanted to play every instrument. For some reason, I just used to annoy everyone by getting a tumbi and saying, I'm going to keep playing it until I learn how to play it. Or an algoje, or tabla, or tolki, or tol. So I ended up, all the old RDB albums, I was playing and recording all these things in when we used to record. And you get that influence from, your dad doing kirtan and blah, blah, blah. But then you have to kind of use your own initiative to be like, I want to actually do more music.
Develop it into something that,
Exactly. And that fire you need.
You see a lot of artists who have, in so many different genres, who get that influence from the religious side. So, some of the R&B singers who started off with gospel music, and you're talking the same about that as well. And I guess that kind of gives you that solid base to work from, and then you develop it and let it evolve into what you're passionate about.
Yeah, exactly. You just use a little bit of the knowledge that you have and just advance on that and use every tool you have.
Yeah, so growing up in Bradford, there wasn't really much in the music scene within Bradford. I think I can recall there was basically two shops that sold Punjabi CDs or tapes back then. One was on like White Owie Road and one was Bombay Stores, and you were restricted to the music you could get from there. Whereas London and Birmingham, it was like you pick up a rock and there was a band under there. You know what I mean? So it was very difficult to find inspiration. But who did you really idolize in them early years, and who were you looking up to that, hang on a sec, these guys are doing it really, really well. We want to aspire to or you want to aspire to be like that person. Who did you kind of?
Well, when we first started making music, we never used to listen to that much Bhangra music, believe it or not. We didn't listen to that much Bhangra music, and we wasn't aware of that many Bhangra bands. And I'm talking when we was young, when we was younger. A lot of people today will say, well, when I was a kid, I was listening to a lot of Alap, I was listening to Frana, Premi, that, etc. We wasn't really listening to a lot of that. We was listening to more Michael Jackson, and we were listening to Chris Cross, and we was listening to English music. And it's only the Bhangra music came into scene, obviously, when my mama got involved, and we kind of heard, Alap, this is kind of... So then we started listening to more and more Bhangra music, and as we grew up, anybody that really we felt as though was kind of cool, we was more inspired towards. Like me personally, I really liked the way Bali Sagu was making music. Bali Sagu's stuff was crazy. He was the originator of the remix. Period.
Absolutely.
And
you couldn't really call this genre Bhangra either. It was kind of, was it?
He was doing everything.
Was it like
everything?
This Bollywood style, or was it like dance style, or was it Bhangra?
Exactly. So what he did was he took Indian music or Desi music and he turned it his own style, which is what me and Baj really loved about what he did. And then, we had PMC, and when PMC was making old, like before Mundi Atabach, like old grassroots and blah, blah, blah. It was like, yo, that's kind of cool. He's now bringing the Desi music into hip hop.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we was listening to these guys and be like, okay, this is cool. Then came B21 whilst we was on the circuit and DJing, and B21 made modern style Bhangra music.
They was like, boy band of the era, weren't they? There was like three half decent looking guys, smart Sardar, sung really well, dressed in suits. It was the boy band-esque. Everybody kind of wanted to to get a piece of?
Exactly. So musically, we always looked at who's making music which is different. That's something that me and Podge, and I keep saying me and Podge because Serge never took any interest in music production. So that's why I say me and Podge. But me and Podge always wanted to hear new style music.
Yeah.
We wanted to. Serge always had a really big interest in DJing, which he pushed heavy, and he was a great DJ.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've DJed alongside him, and I always remember him being the techie guy. He always was really interested in that side of things, and the rig and the lighting and the decks and that kind of stuff. That's what he.
Because we pulled him out of college just when RDB started doing something and said, right now you're going to start DJing. And he was like, oh, okay, no play and DJ. All right, we'll do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So he took more interest in that once we started making music. But anything to do with inspiration, it was anybody who was making different styles of music. That's who we were getting inspired by. Simple fact.
So it's really funny that, because I see kind of a way that I grew up as well. Like early days, I didn't really listen to much Bhangra. I mean, only what you would hear if you went to India once a year or whatever, and then you come back and then maybe at a wedding year, a couple of tunes and that kind of thing. And I grew up similar with Michael Jackson and R&B and hip hop and that kind of thing. But then came the era in the mid 90s, going into the late 90s of the garage era. And then that's when you met Surinder Rattan and you did the project, you did Duppe on the Lick. So did you kind of want to bring that, because it was very heavy on garage, that track. It kind of had that kind of sample and beats on it. Is that where that influence came in, and that was the kind of music you were listening to around that time?
Well, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, garage music was the biggest thing at that time. So what we was doing is obviously we was going out and we was spinning and we was DJing. I mean, how we met Surinder in Maestro's and we just said, yo, bro, can you just play this remix? And we had R. Kelly's track mixed in with Dole. And we just gave him the CD and said, can you play the track? He played the track out and everybody was like, oh, this is kind of cool. A Dole with R. Kelly's music. And that's what caught his ear and his eye. He was like, yo, these kids are doing something that nobody else is doing, or this is different. So he's like, yo, you can come and start spinning with me. We'll go out and we'll DJ. So we did. We went out and we started spinning and DJing with him. And that's when garage music started popping off. And as garage music started popping up, what we used to do is Sergio used to remix, DJ, and he'd spin Dude Lally and mix Dude Lally in with when Sahara would perform. So Sahara would be doing the Tuppe and he'd mix Dude Lally in with Sahara doing the Tuppe. And Herbie would be like, yo, this is kind of sick. Whilst he's performing, he's like, yo, that's kind of sick how you mix that in. And we kind of got that idea of, garage mixing with Bhangra is kind of cool. And then came Surinder, where he was like, yo, I'm doing an album. It's called The Lick. He's doing it with Movie Box and boom, 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 boom. And the Tuppe came. Now, the fact is, Tuppe was not produced by any one of us. It was produced by Surinder and whoever he produced it with. It wasn't an RDB song. In fact, the only part of RDB that was on the Lick album was Kolipaji helped make one song on that album, which was a Shazia Manzoor track. That's the track that we collaborated with musically. We did not musically collaborate with Tuppe on Surinder Rattan's The Lick.
So that's a real misconception there, isn't there? I mean, I remember obviously you guys being in the video, and that was probably your first. We
was in the video because
TV exposure.
We was crew. It was gang. We was crew. We was Surinder Rattan. So Surinder gave us that. Yo, you know what? Gang, it's crew. You just help me do one track here. I've done one track here. Boom. We're gonna spin together. It's gonna be Surinder Rattan and RDB. Let's do it that way. And then we took a picture for the back, which Surinder was happy enough to put onto the back, and the album was called The Lick by Surinder Rattan. And the only part of RDB that was on there is the fact that we made sure that there was a section in there that says "Come follow me, RDB."
RDB, yeah.
And that was it.
The introduction of was it Mets on that one?
And it was Mets, Mets. And what we used to do is when we used to spin, we used to deliberately loop that section. So people would, and we'd mix another track just going into come follow me, RDB, come follow me, and just loop. And so we brainwash people as we're spinning.
People are still
people would
saying
think
it now.
RDB.
I was gonna say the brainwashing worked because that's stuck in my head for years and years and years.
Exactly. But that's a fact. That's real. That's real talk right there. I mean, I don't think anybody else would say, oh yeah, blah blah blah. I don't know if Serge would say, oh yeah, that's our track. But the fact of the matter is, it's not. It's not our track.
There's no doubt. A couple of years afterwards, the debut came out in 2001.
Yeah.
And you kind of continued that style. That would you say that it gave you a platform to kind of springboard off of? To think, okay, we've been on TV now, we've got this exposure, we're in the DJ scene. Let's put out the album, obviously under Untouchables.
What happened was basically that gave us a chuska of we like spinning in clubs, we like DJing in clubs, we like the fact of garage music, blah blah blah. Because right after the lick, the next song that was made was Sony and Sony with. No, sorry. After the lick, the next song that was made was a remix of Dude Lally on Herbie Sahara's album, and the song was called Tappe again. Was it called Tappe or Boliyan? Boliyan. It was called Boliyan. And that was Dude Lally, literally Dude Lally, ripped, mixed onto his track, and that was released. And he started performing that, and that gave us a little bit more, oh damn, we can do this as well. We didn't do that before, right? Surinder did it.
Yeah.
Now it was like, oh shoot, we can do this as well. So we did that. And then after that, I hooked up with Herbie, and I made Sony and Sony for Herbie. That's where my Sting MC, and I started rapping. Well, not rapping, but MCing as Sting MC. So I put that out with Herbie, and then after that is where the debut album came.
So the debut album, it was, you could probably say that there was no real like desi band type songs on there. It was all hip hop and garage, sampled. Like Butley was Get Your Freak On, and then obviously there was a few on Put Sardan. There was garage beats and stuff. Obviously, from what you're saying, this journey that you've gone through, and is it representative of what music you grew up on, and you thought, right, okay, let's continue with these heavy samples and let's put them over Punjabi vocals and continue that trend?
Yeah, it was not just only that, but we used to travel DJing. So during that time, Kuli Paji designed the RDB website, which people started going on to, which we thought was the most stupidest idea ever. And we thought, who the hell's ever going to go on the internet, and who's ever going to go onto a website?
Is this the site that had the green background with the big RDB Chrome logo at the beginning? Because I remember going on that. It used to take like 5 minutes for the logo to
exactly.
Dial up into
so because he made that site is why we, coming back to your question, why we started traveling. We started getting bookings, so we started traveling in different places. Now, when we traveled, we used to come to Canada for doing this Bhangra competition show. We used to go to Australia. We used to go everywhere. We would listen to different music. When we used to come to Canada, we used to hear a lot of hip-hop music. And there was a guy called Pamma Sarai from Canada who we connected with, who's also a music producer. And he showed us more hip-hop tracks. And we're like, oh, yo, these are kind of cool. Maybe we'll take this sample. Or maybe we'll take this bass line from this hip-hop track. I mean, we probably didn't even hear half of these tracks whilst we're sitting in Bradford. No way on this planet. But when we traveled, we heard these tracks, and we're taking these samples and bits and bats. And that's where the influences for the debut album came from. It was influences musically from all over the world, from wherever we were traveling to.
So that's quite representative of hip-hop in general, because if you look at the roots of hip-hop, it was sampled music from jazz, from soul, from rock, and that kind of stuff as well. So you were basically doing what hip hop was doing, but obviously marketing it on a Bhangra kind of front, and using them samples and beats as inspiration, right? Yeah,
basically.
So like you said, you and Cully were mostly into the production side of things. So was that all self-taught, or was it initially shadowing other producers, or like you say, you would use any computer you could get your hands on to create music? What was the kind of your learning process within production?
I learned everything from watching Kuli Paji. Basically,
yeah.
Kuli was a nerd. Paji was a total nerd. He loved making websites. He liked designing stuff. He knew how to use Photoshop before he even could say Photoshop or what the hell Photoshop was.
Yeah.
He liked making music on different programs that I didn't even know of. I mean, when we were small, there was a computer called the Amiga 500.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, the Amiga 5, this is well before RDB, but the Amiga 500, there used to be this program, I don't know what it sounds something, and you could just sample yourself on a microphone and put it onto the keys of the Amiga 500 keyboard, like the ABCs and blah, blah, blah. And that would go, hey, 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 hey. So we would sample that and record little samples in. And we used to love watching Star Trek at that time. So we'd record Star Trek's, dialogues and loop them and do some really crazy, stupid stuff. But all those ideas initially started from Kuli saying, oh, shall we try this? And I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. Let's try it.
Yeah.
So that's where we learn music. Kuli just, let's download Cubase and start using Cubase. It's a program that everyone's using right now. Let's just wing it and learn how to use it. So we just learned it. We just learned it how to use it. And then I used to sit there and fall asleep watching him producing stuff and making stuff, and I'd learn it, and then I'd try it. And then he'd say, okay, you know what, you do something to this. And then we'd switch chairs and he'd go and sit down and I'd start adding things and blah, blah, blah. And we'd just go back and forth.
See, it's really a trend there that Kuli, I mean, as you say, was such a nerd at these kind of things. And I know he did like a multimedia degree, didn't he? So he was always into
he did masters as well,
and stuff. And a masters as well. But the one thing that stands out to me that RDB did before anybody else did was RDB TV. Like that was light years ahead of the game. Like effectively, you were vlogging when YouTube wasn't even around. That you had to upload it to rdbtv.com, and people had to buffer it for an hour before they could watch it. And that was it. And that was light years ahead of some of the stuff now. And I think that trend is effectively, it continued through the RDB era. It was always trying to be that one step ahead.
Yeah, we always wanted to do something a little bit different. I mean, even just the whole RDB TV idea and the way that happened was when I was after I got married and I was shifting to Canada. Just before I was shifting, we'd started this RDB TV. And that was only a random idea that me and Baj came up with, saying, okay, you know what, we're going to gigs. And Kuli goes, well, we've got our website, so why don't we make like a little section where we can post videos? And I was like, okay, well, if you're going to post videos, we're going to gigs anyway, why don't we just interview the actual artist and put that on there as well? And he's like, oh, right, okay, so interview the artist and the videos. I was like, well, if you're saying post the videos, I'm saying just interview the person as well and then post a video right after it. What's the big deal? And he's like, oh, okay, let's do it. So we started that in the UK, just maybe 1 or 2 shows, and then I shifted. And that's when he was like, okay, now if you're shifting over there, you can interview and do the shows over there, and I'll do the interviews and the shows over here. And we started doing them both from the same time. And we had to change servers because the bandwidth was so big that the server crashed in the UK. So we had a server that was registered on my Canadian address from Canada because it was a bigger bandwidth and it was cheaper to run from Canada. It was crazy.
That's absolutely crazy. That is that the things that people are doing now and that's so easily accessible for people now was something that was probably so difficult to work out logistically back then, but it was light years ahead of what was going on. And like I said, that trend kind of followed suit, and you wasn't afraid, because there might be some people that would say, oh, I'm a DJ, so I don't really want to be interviewing other DJs. You know what I mean? I want to be interviewed, that kind of thing as well. And what I distinctly remember as well is obviously in the North, there wasn't that many artists or producers in the early days. And when Sounds of the North came out, it was your front cover had all the boys on there. They had Lethal Dollies on there, and you had Dijav and all them boys on there. And it was going back to the point that we spoke about with Commandments and giving people opportunity. Was it like, okay, let's get the boys involved here. We're all in this together, kind of thing. Let's kind of give each other a platform to move forward.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what it was? Me and Barge has always been just creative people. We like creating things. We think of things. So Barge's circle of friends wasn't really in Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
Barge didn't have a circle of big friends. He had like maybe one or two close friends. Majority of all his friends were from university, from like Teesside and from Middlesbrough, where he went to university.
Mm-hmm.
Serge never used to have a circle of friends in Bradford. He used to chill out, believe it or not, he used to chill out with a lot of gore back in college days.
Okay. Yeah.
So his circle of friends and Barge's circle of friends became my circle of friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my circle of friends or people were people like the Lethal Totalies and all these guys.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, yo, should we expand this crew? All right, well, it's gang, it's boys, you know what, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they play dole, we'll bring them in as well. Oh, Indy, yeah, you know what, he's an up-and-coming, he's a DJ as well. He likes spinning and he wants to be a producer. Indy, come on. These were my boys I used to play football with. These guys, my guys I used to chill with.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to so we brought them in, the Lethal Totalies, even the Lethal Totalies sign, I hand drew that sign for Dap. Like I designed that sign for Dap. And he put it on the t-shirts. So we basically said, okay, you know what? These guys got some talent here and there. Boom. Let's bring them in. Let's create them part of this whole crew. And wherever we're going to travel, we're young. We can travel all together and just party up. And we was all like 20 years old. I mean, all we wanted to do was go clubbing and partying.
Yeah. But did at that time, you know, I'm just thinking back to those days, and you were really creating a movement. Was that the intention, or was it just like you say, we were trying to keep the boys together? Because when you look back now, how influential that time was, it's massive, isn't it? It's just that like sometimes these things fall into place rather than being pre-planned. Was that the case?
It wasn't. You know, we never thought it was going to be a movement. We knew it was different. We knew what we was doing is completely different to what anybody else is doing. We knew what we're doing is basically, we're going to stand out because no one else is doing this. We knew that. But whether it was going to become a movement or something else, we had no idea. It was just basically a bunch of guys getting together and saying, you know what, we're just going to have fun with this whole thing.
Yeah. And then the years to follow, you obviously, we spoke about it, we touched it very briefly, that you moved to Canada then, and so you got married out there, but obviously trying to produce music, and in Canada, the North American sound was completely different to what you were doing over in the UK with DJ Sanj and America's Most Wanted. It was completely different. So did you kind of feel a little bit out of your comfort zone being there in Canada?
Well,
when the sound was
when I first came to Canada, nobody even knew who RDB was. There was only a very selective amount of people who knew who RDB was, who was like the fanatics of Bhangra music and UK Bhangra music. So I had to kind of start again. I had to literally start again. I got hoodies made and put RDB on there, and I did gigs for like $100. And I just grafted at it and tried to tell people, hello, there's an RDB, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, we was also releasing music. So as the music was getting more and more out, then I'd tell Tony, yo, send me like 50 CDs, ship them to me. I'll go shop to shop and I'll sell them in the shops. So I started distributing our own albums in shop to shop from one place to another. That's the only way I could get that name. That was the only way I could get my name and the brand out in Canada. So it was, and that was hard work for me because, I mean, Aja Mai just released at that time from Danger 2. And which was absolutely smashing it in the UK. So Cully and Serge were gigging left, right, and centre and doing gigs and travelling all over the place, whilst I was trying to make people understand who the hell RDB was.
So Ajamai, it's great you brought that up, because that was probably one of your first. Well, was it your first singing debut on a song? Because the first people could generally remember. Oh, Manj is singing on that one. And you did the full track.
The first time I ever sang was a Bolia on one of Surinder's tracks, on one of his albums. I can't remember what album it was. It was a Bolia on one of his albums, and it's just a Bali Barsi Katakaliani, blah blah blah. That's all it was. That was the first one I ever did. But Ajamahi was my first ever like official project that I went in the studio and I was challenged by Cully to say, you can't make a song on your own. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it on my own. And that's what I made.
There's nothing like bringing the best out of someone and challenging them like that.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm going to prove it.
Were you in? I mean, this sounds like an amazing amount of creativity between you and Cully, especially. But was there like a healthy competitiveness as well that you guys had between you two?
Yeah, we bounced off each other, but I always considered myself learning from him, no matter what. I would never ever, up until today, say that I knew more than him ever. And we had a great relationship. I mean, Baj used to say that I'm so proud of what Manj has achieved, and I envy what he's achieved. He's gone to Canada and he's bought a house and etc. Like he used to say that to me. In fact, I've got it actually tattooed on my arm.
Oh wow!
Exactly what he wrote in a card, and I got it tattooed on my arm. So you know what I mean. We had a great relationship. I could say that, you know what, I don't think I would ever have a relationship with anyone in this world as much as I had with Cully Page. We bonded really well.
I think that's beautiful, and the fact that you were also partners in music, and obviously he was your older brother. It works so well, and obviously that's probably why he brought out the best in you. But naturally, I think you probably brought the best out of each other.
Yeah, 100%. I've got his whole life story tattooed on my arm.
Oh, that's it. That's beautiful.
All the way down, like great. The whole thing is There's a whole story of him on my arm. So that's wicked, I've inked him for life.
I mean, he'll be. You might as well put some ink on. He's going to be with you for life anyway. So following a trailblazing 5 years in the first part of the noughties, you then dipped your toes into Bollywood around 2005, 2006 was Rafta Rafta the first one on Namaste London that kind of
that was the first one,
market. And it was Cully, wasn't it, that built that original relationship in India on the Bollywood side. So tell us a little bit more about how that came about.
Well, what happened is, Bollywood only happened because of Akshay Padi.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically, simple fact. There's no way we would have got Bollywood without Akshay Padi. So we kind of got to know Akshay, who took us right to the top. Like we went straight in at the top.
Yeah.
That was our biggest gain ever. I would definitely say we got lucky that that Akshay Padi reached out to us, and that was, again, I was in Canada. I had moved to Canada. I had gotten married. Me and Nidhi was in Detroit at that time to do a show. Whilst we're doing that show, Akshay had come to Toronto to do an event which got cancelled. And that event that got cancelled, I had no idea that one of my boys that I knew, his father was very close friends with Akshay.
Okay.
And he goes to my boy that, yo, I'm listening to a lot of these songs, blah, blah, blah. Check these tracks out. They're really good. And he started playing RDB songs. And my boy goes, yo, these are RDB songs. And he had no idea. Akshay was like, who? Gone? He's like, oh, RDB songs. The guys are called RDB. And he's like, Acha, I like these songs. It's really good. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I know one of the guys. I know one of these guys. And he's like, if you know one, let's meet this guy.
Yeah.
So Akshay phoned me when I was in Detroit, sitting there. And it was actually my boy who called me from his phone. And he put Akshay on the phone straight away. So I picked the phone up and I'm like, hello. He's like, hi, this is Akshay Kumar from Bombay. I go, who? Akshay Kumar from Bombay. I go,
you haven't laughed. That's a prank.
I go, all right, mate. Yeah, I think Shah Rukh Khan called me yesterday. What do you want? and he just started laughing and he gave the phone to my boy. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Why are you taking the piss? And he's like, bro, that's actually Akshay Kumar on the phone. Seriously, he's my dad's friend and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. Then I apologized to him. I said, I'm really, really sorry, man. Shit. I didn't know that. He's like, Koi Galni, how's everything? I go, yeah. And he goes, I wanted to meet you. And I was like, look, we're in Detroit. I can't meet. And he's like, okay, then when can we meet? How can we meet? And I says, the best thing to do is wait until I come back to Toronto. And he goes, I'm leaving to London tomorrow. And I was like, if you're leaving to London tomorrow, I will connect you with Cully Padi because he's in England.
Yeah.
And he can meet you in London.
Yeah.
And then once he meets you in London, then you can discuss with him whatever you need to do. And I'll talk to Baj and we'll work it out, whatever it is. And he's like, okay, Cully is your older brother? And I was like, yeah, he's my older brother. And he goes, okay, Tika, I'm going to London, give him my number and tell him to call me and meet me in London. And that's when Cully Padi went and met him in London.
Yeah.
And after he met him in London, that's when everything kicked off, and we started talking. And up until today, you know, me and Akshay are still super duper buddies.
That's
what a great story,
you know,
man.
the fact that it's benefited you from being in Canada and then also having the UK connect here. That's where it's paid dividends as well, hasn't
Trust me, I cannot even express how much luck I got after getting married and moving to Canada. Like, I personally feel, and I'm going to be biased about this, I think that India gave us major luck, because after we married is when we became Bollywood, and then Akshay came, and then all the Bollywood kicked in, and so many more things opened up for us. It was nuts.
I think you're right. Certain people come into your life and guide you in certain directions, which allow doors to be opened and stars to align. And that kind of thing. It's 100%. A general trend that we're hearing, even with the other guests as well, kind of them saying that in certain situations, I wasn't really interested, but then something fell on my lap and it completely changed the course of my
We're hearing a lot of course, people, all these people who are successful have put the work in, and the more they put the work in, these moments of luck or grace or whatever you want to call it just happen to fall, and the stars align and it comes. And it's such a great thing to see that, you know, you get that kind of luck or you get that fortune, but underneath all that is hard graft and hard work, and that can never be forgotten. It doesn't just fall into your lap.
100%.
So
you got to graft for it.
Sing Is King was the big one, wasn't it? It was the collaboration with Snoop. Kind of thinking you've been listening to his tunes when you were younger and through your teens and stuff, and now you're working with him. And then, but the big TV moment was the IFA Awards. Seeing you guys, I mean, for me, seeing you guys, and it was in Sheffield as well, in Yorkshire, and you guys are performing in front of basically Bollywood. Was that the big moment? Was that the big hurrah? That thinking, right, okay, we're here now. We've made our mark on Bollywood.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, because our relationship had grown so well with Akshay Bhaji that when he said, okay, I'm going to be doing I'm doing a performance at the IFA Awards, and we're like, what the hell is IFA Awards? And he's like, you know, it's where all the Bollywoods are going to be performing, blah, 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 and it's going to happen in England. And we're like, oh, okay, it's going to happen in Sheffield. So he was like, okay, so I want to perform, because Akshay knew Ajamai was a big song. It was one of his favorite songs of all time. He knew it was a big track. So he was like, look, I love that song. I know it's a big song. I want to perform that song, and I want to have you guys perform that song with me. So we're like, what are the biggest opportunities that we're ever going to get in our life? Hell yeah, we're in all the way. And when we did it, that was it. It went down in history.
Yeah, Ajamai was okay, so when we talk about Ajamai, there was the original Ajamai that had tricks on there, that was on Danger 2, right? And that was massive in the UK. But it had a really big Pakistani following as well. So obviously, when you guys were doing shows out in Pakistan, everybody wanted to hear Ajamai. Pakistanis in the UK, they absolutely loved that tune as well. But then you kind of refixed it a little bit, didn't you? For the
movie,
Indian
for Sing Is Bling.
Yeah, for Sing Is Bling. But then a lot of other projects came following all that, like Pesa Pesa, Om Mangalam, Sherandi Kom. And as you said, when you refixed Ajamai, you also refixed Saddi Gali as well. So you were using these tunes that had already had popularity in the UK, but never really came across in India and touched their markets, and refixing them, and they almost give you another lease of life.
Yeah, 100%. Because you got to remember, these songs were never commercially viable in India. And unless you're Bollywood, it doesn't go commercial. Bollywood is the mainstream. So it never went mainstream in India. It only was known within Punjabis in India, Punjabis in the UK, Punjabis in America, Canada. That's what it was known by. But it never got mainstream. And that's a movie was going to take it mainstream. So when we had the option, we were going to definitely do it.
So your voice started to become really recognizable in India and in Bollywood. So obviously that distinct sound, and your distinct voice. So following the passing of Cully in 2012, which was extremely sad and took the industry, like it was a shock to the industry. How did it affect your mindset? Because obviously Cully being that vision of, and having that initial discussion with Akshay, and obviously going through the movements in Bollywood, how did it affect you? And not necessarily on an emotional level, you can imagine what it would have been like on an emotional level, but for your career, did you think to yourself, oh, I don't really know what to do now? How am I going to kind of direct RDB without Cully?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a major hit. So I thought, okay, maybe we just need to pack this in. I was thinking, let's just pack it up and not do anything now. But then everybody was like, no, we should definitely carry on the RDB brand, carry on the name. We need to push it further. So I was in two minds. I didn't know whether to move forward or not, because I didn't feel comfortable moving forward. I didn't feel that, we could keep making music as RDB without Kuli Paji being around. It just felt really weird, even though we're doing videos and we started traveling, doing shows without Kuli Paji. And most of the time when Paj was sick, when we used to travel on shows, it was me and Nindi who would look after Paj. We would take him to the gym and go for runs with him and take him here and take him there. We was constantly looking after him. So for him not now all of a sudden being around us and it's just me, Serge and Nins, it was really weird. It didn't feel right. So it was I went through this whole, I think, pack this in, man. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. And then, naturally there was quarrels and stuff happening between me and Serge. That was not something new. It's been happening for years and years and years. If anybody knows any of us in Bradford, all Kuli Paji ever did, Serge and Kuli just argued all their life. Literally, that's all they did. So, and I was always the middleman trying to fix the situation. So, things were still there. Things were in the air. But I thought, okay, I'm just gonna leave this whole thing, because I can see this whole thing going wrong. The quarrels are getting worse, and we're not really, the creativity and the creative side is disappearing, and it's becoming now more of a, okay, we need to do this, and that. It was becoming regiment. It wasn't fun anymore. None of it was fun anymore.
It was kind of maintaining maintaining that image and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it was for the sake of it, for the sake of everyone saying, no, you have to keep RDB alive. Well, no, you don't. You don't have to keep RDB alive. You can only keep RDB alive if Kuli Paji was around. And if me and Kuli Paji were still making music, then that gives me some fire to be like, yes, I want to do this. Let's do it. But when the person's gone, it's like, you know what? Why are you forcing the issue now? You're just forcing the issue. So
sounds like everything that made RDB what it was the feeling wasn't there as much when all that happened.
They can't be. I mean, if I could say I'm going to release an RDB song tomorrow, and I'd be an idiot, because realistically, it's not going to be an RDB song,
right?
Unless Kuli Paji's brain is half involved in producing that track, there's no RDB song. Simple fact. So that's the direction I was going in, and then I did give up at one point, and I said, okay, forget it. I'm out. Peace. Done. I'm done with this. I'm done with I'm done with fighting. I'm done with this whole, the way this is working. I don't like any of it. And that's what people didn't like. People didn't like it. They were like, oh, you know what? He's deserting RDB. He's deserting his bro. He's left everything. I got penalized. I got drowned. I got dead. Like, people were sending me nasty messages just because I did that. But I thought, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to carry on doing what I need to do.
The thing is, creativity comes in various different ways, and if an element that really helped shape and define you and spark your creativity isn't there, if you're forcing things, then you don't really want to continue down that route. I mean, I know that you guys released Daddy the Gash after Kuli passed away. Did you kind of see that as with T-Pain as well? So it's not an opportunity that you want to really pass up, especially with a hip-hop artist like that. Was that did you feel as if that was your last hurrah then when it came to the RDB side of things?
Yeah, I mean, even doing that whole thing was a lot of headache, and there was a lot of ups and downs in the whole thing. Even bringing T-Pain on the game, like anybody big, I'm not just saying this, but anybody who came on, whether it be Snoop or Luda or Pain, came through my people. Came through me, who I connected with, because I had great relationships being in Canada and connecting with these people. So making that happen after putting all that work in, and then still, not equally putting that work in, you know what I mean? I'm putting in the hours, I'm putting in the work, and the other person's just, raking the rewards because he just feels like I'm a big time. It wasn't working for me. So that's why I was like, okay, it's not about being big time. It's about just working. And the way I'd worked all my life is my work was shared half with Kuli Paji. That's the way it was, period. And it wasn't working this way with Serge. Simple fact. So that's why I was like, okay, this can't work. And there was too many complications. I was like, I'm done. I'm out.
So you took the decision to go solo, and obviously it came with a lot of
crap.
heartache.
Everyone.
Well,
basically everybody hating me then want to be my best friend today. That's the way it is. Simple fact.
It is one of them situations, isn't it? People that are slating you in that situation now see the success, but it comes with graph, and we said it before. Obviously, you had a vision that you wanted to drive forward with, and you launched your brand, Manj Musik, and your debut single was "Bend the Monday," right?
No, my actual first probably as a single it was Spin the Monday, but as Manj Musik, my first song that I released right after the breakup was Whistle Baja.
Okay.
In Bollywood.
Yeah.
Which was straight, it was seal gold, but it went out and it was just a super duper hit. And that's what gave me the damn. I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can do this, because if I would have put out that first track as Manj Musik and it flopped on its ass, I would have been like, what I'm doing, can I do this? And everybody, the closest people to me, Nindi obviously being one, some elder people that were very, very tight and close to me, and one of my very close friends, Kader, who's in Germany. We did a 16 city show, a tour with this guy. He's like an older brother. They all said, listen, if you can do it, then just do it. Like, you've clearly shown that with this Whistle Baja track that you're capable of doing something. It might not be an RDB song. It might not be as big as an RDB song, but you've done something that's become big. So carry on. And that's what gave me the boost. And after that, then I thought, okay, I'm going to drop little singles and this, that, blah, blah, blah. And we kept on putting out songs with Raftar and whatnot.
So moving to that point. So, and we talked about it right at the beginning that, so you almost, is it right to say that you discovered Raftar, or you gave him, you helped give him a platform, and when he featured, when he split with Honey Singh, it was kind of like, okay, he's really talented. Do you want to come work with me, kind of thing?
Yeah, Raftar he was never really with Honey Singh. Like they were all working separately, but they were all friends.
Okay.
And then whatever complications they had, he ended up doing his own thing, and he started. And Bacha was also writing his own stuff, and Raftar was writing his own stuff. And it was our manager at that point who introduced us to Raftar and said, there's this kid. He used to be in Honey's camp, and he's a really good writer and he's a good rapper. Maybe you could use him. And when we said, all right, okay, cool, and we're doing it big, the Tesi Jande track. Who was producing that track, and that track was fully produced. In fact, that was the second track I fully produced. That Kuli Paji, when he went nuts when he heard that beat. This was before he passed, he heard that beat, and I produced that in Canada. He came out to Canada and he heard it, and he's like, "Yo, this is sick." So when I produced that one, we wanted to have the features on there. So in fact, I've got videos of me and Kuli Paji in the studio in Canada doing that whole track and everything. I'm going to put them out. Actually, you just reminded me. When we were doing that, we needed a feature on there. That's when we said, all right, okay, you know what, let's ask this Raftar guy and see what he can do. So we got him to record, and when he recorded his verse and sent it back to us, like, yo, this guy's absolutely sick. He's dirty. So we met him at the video shoot, and then after we met him at the video shoot, we said, okay, we're going to do more stuff with you. And Raftar clearly, because all the studio time was spent with me with Raftar. Liaising, talking, going out, chilling, blah, 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 talking music was with me, with Raftar. So Raftar was like, okay, you guys have just split. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm going to stick with you because I don't really know him like I know you. And you're creative, so I want to be with creative people. I don't want to be with somebody who wants to just manage me, and I have to be creative. I want to be with creative people. So he stuck with me, and we gave him a platform, and we moved together forward.
So that relationship came, you would say, during that transition period of you going down the Manj Musik route. So, but was the big statement when you got Raftar, this Desi rapper, with Rackstar, a British Asian rapper, and then Humble was on there from Canada, and you put out Desi hip hop, and was that a statement to say, hang on, there's a big hip hop scene here in India, and I as Manj Musik are going to tap into that?
No, this hip hop came second. First thing was Swag Mera Desi. So Swag, when we dropped Swag Mera Desi is when Manj Music became a commercial hip hop name with Raftaar.
Right.
Okay.
So it was like a joint effort between me and Raftaar to both push both of our brands as hip hop commercial brand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what created a hip hop commercial sound for Manj Music.
Okay.
And then after that, by me putting everybody on Desi hip hop, it just sealed it, like literally.
Was it an attempt to bring all these influences together? You had the Canadian on there, you had the British on there, you had
I just wanted to be a DJ Khaled. That's I wanted to be DJ Khaled. That's all it is. I was like, that whole track was made for the sake of being like DJ Khaled, because I was like, oh, I want to be Khaled of Desi hip hop. I want to bring everyone in.
So do you feel as if you coined that term then, Desi hip hop? Was that something that was that on people's tongues before, or was it just a sound and it was like, okay, I want to coin this as Desi hip hop. I'm going to make a track called Desi hip hop.
Desi hip hop was a genre.
Yeah.
Desi hip hop was a genre that was started by Bohemians. Simple fact. That's facts.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a genre of music that everybody knew. If anybody was rapping in Punjabi or Hindi, they knew the term Desi hip hop because of Bohemia.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, this is perfect. We'll just call it Desi hip hop, because everyone's doing rap in their own languages and whatnot, and it's Desi. So let's do it.
So, as Desi hip hop progressed as a genre and a brand, you continued to work in Bollywood on movie soundtracks, but you also did a lot of production and a little bit of ghost production with the up and coming Punjabi artists like Guru Randhawa. I know that you were in the studio toying with ideas for him, and you helped come up with that high rated Gabru kind of.
Yeah.
That
produced high rated Gabru was produced in Nupi's bedroom in India.
Yeah.
In India, in Nupi's bedroom. That's where it was produced, and DJ Nav.
Yeah. So Nav was telling me that he was.
He was also there.
That was that was.
He was also there. He was sitting right there when we were doing it, and we was working off that. I think it was some Sean Paul song or something, and Nav was like, "Oh, this one," and he gave me the beat, the Sean Paul track, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to use these chords," and then we ended up using those chords.
Oh wow!
To basically make the main melody of the beat, and that's what Guru liked. He liked that. He liked the idea of where that was coming together. So we added some stuff, blah blah blah. Then I sent it to V. V added some ad-libs, he added some more structure to it, some more chords and some beat patterns, sent it back to me. I chopped them up. I put the extra bass lines in there. I cut all his ad-libs up and made them in different sections, put a bridge on there, and boom, we had High Rated Gabru. And I knew right there and then, both me and Guru knew in that bedroom that this song is going to be a super duper hit.
You know, it doesn't have to come from something big, or it doesn't have to come with NB. You could just be in a bedroom playing tracks on a phone, and just brainstorming.
I didn't even have proper speakers. It was just on. It was just literally on a piece on my Mac with these two small speakers, and I had a microphone, and that was it. And even Guru was like, "Koi gal banju."
Well, the thing is that when Guru Randhawa released that tune, it was a massive hit, and it kind of sparked a resurgence of Punjabi singers coming through and obviously becoming popular worldwide. So did you tend to keep your ears to the ground with these Punjabi singers? Because obviously being in Mumbai, you're obviously exposed a lot more to Bollywood and the Desi hip hop side of things. But did you kind of continue to follow through and see what was going on in the Punjabi music industry?
Yeah, because a lot of the Punjabi artists were coming to Bombay a lot. So I was going to Punjab a lot. So I was already connected to all the Punjabi artists and whatnot. The one thing after Kuli Baji passed away is I promised myself that every single person that ever knew Baj, I'm going to make sure I keep a relationship with that person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep that relationship should not die just because Baj is not here. That relationship shouldn't die. We should always have that relationship going. So I kept it cool with everybody, with every artist, every person in the industry, including Kuli's, closest friends. And Kuli's best friend at the time, DJ AK from London, he's my best friend today. Like literally, he's my best mate today, and we're inseparable. So, it literally was that I just wanted to make sure that whatever we do, we keep that connection with everyone. And we just move forward from there.
Yeah. I know AK is a fantastic guy. I've met him a handful of times, and I check out his Insta lives every so often.
Yeah.
He's a really talented DJ himself, more hip hop esque, but he's really
Yeah.
talented, as well as Nab as well. I mean, the fact that he gave you that idea and for them chords on the Sean Paul track just goes to show he's got a great ear as well. And he was involved on the remix, wasn't he, for We're Doing It Big as well? So
yeah. For the remix as well, yeah.
That's great. So in 2018, then Punjabi Billboard, which features Ranjit Bawa, Jazz Dummy, Corby, that to me, listening back to it now, that had more of that RDB sound than the tracks before then. It had that sample, the influence of not just garagey kind of beats, but hip hop beats. It sounded more like an RDB album.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that obviously you wanted to make it sound like that, but did you want it to sound like that? Did you want to throw back and say, hang on, these are still my roots. This is the music that I love.
I don't think if you put RDB as 100%, 50% is always going to be there, no matter what. Mm-hmm. So what you hear on that album is my 50%.
Yeah,
of
absolutely
what I'm putting in there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, if Cully was around, you would have literally got a RDB. You would have heard every song and went, yo, that's an RDB track, straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Whereas when you hear Punjabi Billboard, you hear a feeling of it, but it's not really RDB. No.
Yeah.
And a simple fact, because the 50% is gone and there's 50% still here. So that's what my thing was. I wanted to just put my elements into this whole album. And obviously I was working with all the Punjabi artists, so everybody was kind enough to be like, yo, Paji, koi gal nahi, main vocal kar danga thode liye, done. Yeah. And I had good relationships with everyone. So I basically put an album together, just giving my flavors of what I could bring to the table, just to bring the Punjab feel back.
So that's good that you wanted to really go back, but underlying you still had what we spoke about before. There was the Gully movement that was happening in Mumbai, and then there was obviously the popularity of Gully Boy, the film, which probably gave it an even bigger platform and got seen by a lot more people. And you actually featured as a judge in the film, didn't you, alongside Bobby Friction and Raja Gomari, who's actually a really good friend of ours as well. What was that like, actually being in the movie and being asked to be a judge alongside these people?
It was pretty sick. I mean, when they said, oh, can you be the judge, blah, 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 I was like, all right, okay, damn, all right, okay, I'm privileged to do that. So I will definitely do it. Never done any acting, and especially in Hindi before. So it was a little bit different for me, but I was really excited about doing it. And it was really, to be honest, I was nervous about, I don't know if I'm going to get it right or whatnot. Yeah. But when on set, it was pretty much easy. And even though my Hindi is really whack, but still, I did whatever I had to do. And it was good, man. It was really, really cool. Everybody was really relaxed on the whole set. Everyone was just having fun. It was cool.
And obviously now, fast forwarding to the release of Shikari featuring the Commandments. Tell us more about these guys then. So how did you come about discovering this talent or this group and getting them featured on the tune?
So Shikari is basically just it's a collaboration of all these guys just bringing different elements. I mean, it's not all Punjabi, right? There's Punjabi and there's Hindi rap in there, and then there's Saurabh Acharya is crazy. Like the way he raps in Hindi is like Shuddh Hindi. Nobody's doing that ever. So I wanted to bring all those elements together, and the hook line. Obviously, I asked Ikka, my brother. I said, "Yo, you wanna give me a good hook or whatnot?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he wrote that hook in like 10 seconds. It was a sick hook, and we dropped the hook and done the track, and it just highlights every single person individually and what they can bring to the table, because I want each one of those to really move forward and start a career of their own as well as together. So,
and that seems to be one of your trademarks, Manj, is the ability to bring all these different talented people together and give them this jump off point to go on their own and find their own style.
Yeah. Well, I always say it's no point signing people and grabbing them and tying them down by their hands and legs and saying, you know what, you ain't going nowhere, you're signed to me. Because their creativity goes straight down the toilet, straight off the bat. They cannot be creative if you keep holding them down. You need to let them free, and creative people need to be free to just do what they want to do. So my thing is, I see a great potential in them. We'll do a collaboration together. It'll give me a little boost, and it'll give me some proud moment of being part of this and pushing these guys further. And if they blow up, they blow up. That's great.
Well, that's what it was like in the early days. You didn't tie down any of these boys like Lethal Donnies or Indy Sagu or any of them. Or even let's look at the Untouchables UK era, when all of them albums where you worked with Maxin and E = MC and Gubby Sandu, no one was really tied down to anything. It was gang, as you say. It was like, cool, boys, let's make some tunes. Let's make, not knowing at the time that you were creating a movement. Let's just have a bit of fun here and kind of get our creative juices flowing. And obviously I caught your Insta Live on the weekend, last weekend, and you were saying as well that you are looking to work with a lot of talented producers, and you were playing out beats by different producers and helping them have a platform as well. Is this, as we say, is this Desi hip hop movement kind of escalating in India now, and you're getting some real talent coming out and it's sounding really, really good?
There's crazy talent in India. This whole my weekly event of Beat Baatein is what I call the show every week, every Sundays. It just, when I first did it, it was just, let's talk about music on my Instagram Live. But the feedback I got from there and the amount of people that was sending me samples of their music, I was like, damn, there is some crazy talent out there, like worldwide, not just only in India. And none of these guys get any platform to even showcase any of their music. So if I go on Instagram Live and they get some feedback from me, they feel like they're on the moon by just me saying, yo, that's a sick beat. And I don't say everything's sick. I'll do say, oh, this is all right, but, it needs to be better, do this. But there is some crazy amount of talent out there. So I've just kept it as a little platform on Instagram Live. It takes an hour out of my time to just help other people listen to their music, and I get some great samples of beats and stuff sent to me, and I connect them with people. Like Ikka's using one of the new guys, his beat, and there's another guy who's sending a beat to Jastami now, who's producing with him. So I'm connecting just people who are willing to make good music and putting the grafting in with the artists themselves directly, which they'll never get.
What does it really take? An email, a message with a sample of a beat, and if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere.
It's an amazing way to bring a community of new people together.
So we're going to move on to the next segment, which is 3-peat.
Not 1-peat, not 2-peat. It's the 3-peat.
So what we ask you to do is to give us 3 songs which you could play on repeat over and over again and not get bored of. So what's your number 1, Manj?
Any song,
my
own or
absolutely, it could be any song in the world that you could listen in your car or in your headphones on repeat, day in, day out.
Wow, good song. Oh, damn, there's so many songs, man. One song that I would play on repeat. If we're gonna go to an old school track, I'd say the whole album, Hira's album, Diamonds from Hira.
Yeah.
That album, or any one of those songs can be on repeat 24 hours.
Yes. So where did you first hear that album, and what kind of nostalgic memory do you have with that one?
I think that was from every party that we used to go to when we were small. Every party we used to go to, we used to hear that album played left, right, and center. But definitely that album for sure.
You never get bored of it.
Nah.
Okay, moving on. What's your number 2?
If we go more recent, what am I listening to recently?
Don't forget, it doesn't have to be Punjabi. It doesn't have to be Hindi. It can be hip hop, whatever you want.
Well, Weekend,
Okay. Yeah.
Weekend, that can be on repeat. In fact, it's on repeat on radio here in Canada anyway, or every day. But definitely Weekend. Blinding Lights, sick track.
That's a great tune. That is. That big you know tune. What I'm a bit hit and miss when it comes to Weekend. There are only select tunes that I tend to like, but Blinding Lights that's a really good one. That is.
Yeah, it is.
And what's the number 3
one? Third one would be, I love this track of Apache Indians, Don Raja.
Oh yeah,
that track is dope. I could
That's
hear
a
that
good
over and
throwback.
over again.
That is a great tune.
You know what? I was
Don
thinking
Raja.
about this the other day. Apache Indian. I kind of grew up knowing him as an Indian kind of rapper, singer kind of thing. But in actual fact, he crossed over so many genres and went mainstream as well.
Yeah, he was
Massively.
mainstream. He literally was mainstream.
Yeah, it's one of the real first kind of breakthrough artists from the Asian.
He was
sort of
definitely
side
the first brown person to go mainstream, no doubt.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it's still his song's still doing the links, the advert with Nashua at the moment, isn't it? I mean, that just shows in 2020 that song is still relevant and he is still relevant as an artist.
Yeah.
It's such a big, massive tune.
Because even around that time, I mean, there was a few, like you had, was it Corner Shop Boys with Brimful of Asher, and they were kind of these Indian dudes doing all English music and stuff. But Apache Indian he's still there. He's still touring, doing gigs and stuff. He's very
no
much
doubt.
relevant still.
Yeah,
but that's a really good three-peat. That is, man. Really,
it's a great three-peat.
Really good. So we've got Hira as number one. Was it Diamond Cuts album?
Diamonds from Hira.
Yep. And 2 was The Weeknd, Blinding Lights, and 3 we've got Apache Indian, Don Raja. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Manj's three-peat.
This is the part of the show where we ask, are you roots or rhymes?
So the final question, Manj, is that we ask every single guest, looking back on your career, looking back on your achievements, all the accolades and all the ups and downs, would you say that you are roots or would you say that you are rhymes?
I think, can I say a bit of both?
Yeah.
You know, every single one of our guests so far have said a bit of both. So
I'll say a bit of both. I can't say just roots, I can't say rhymes, but a bit of both, really.
No, you know what? All of our guests have said the same thing, because even though they may be in a certain genre, or they may be doing a certain thing, one, their roots are individual to them. What their roots are completely unique. It's not the same as anybody else's, but at the same time, you can't deny that your influence has come from the rhyme side of things, the hip hop, the R&B. So,
for sure.
Manj, I completely take the point that you are roots and rhymes.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I don't sit in one place. I'm always trying to do different things.
And your career and your catalogue of work really highlights that. You're definitely not an artist that you can put in a box. It's
and I like to be that way. I like to be remembered that way after I'm gone.
That's definitely the legacy that, from my perspective of listening to the things that you've produced over the years, is just the excitement of not knowing which way it's going to go next. It's not like, oh, this artist is going to come up with this album next, and you kind of the second and third album is the same as the first. It's just slightly evolved. It's like, what the hell is Manj going to do next? Because you're doing everything.
Yeah. Wait until the next album drops. It's going to drop in July. You're going to be like, what the hell? Totally switching up the game again.
Well, that's a great segue, Manj, because this is the opportunity for you to plug anything you've got going on. Tell the people what you're doing.
Okay, so there's more songs with Punjabi artists. I've got another one with Mankirat Daulat coming out. I've got more songs I'm producing with some Bollywood guys. I've done another 2 Bollywood songs for some movies, which are on hold right now, coming out next year. Working with Karan Aujla for a track as well, big collaboration with a mainstream with it. Got a couple more mainstream acts coming. I just did the Sean Kingston, but I'm going to do 2 more in the pipeline. And then I'm going to be launching Mr. Noopster, my son, as the music producer, who's going to be dropping his first debut produced album this July.
Amazing.
So he definitely has the genes for that.
Yeah, 100 billion%. He's got everything. All the genes, no doubt. He surprises me. Last night he surprised me again with another beat that he made. Absolutely nuts. Unbelievable. I don't know how he's learning it. He's just learning it, YouTubing it and working out and listening to different music. And he makes something different every day, and it's inspiring. So he inspires me. Yeah.
At such a young age, they're like sponges as well. It's the best opportunity for them to pick things up and learn them. You know what, Manj, really appreciate you coming on the show today. It's been a great insight into your journey from the beginning and up until now. And we're really, really looking forward to what's to come, and especially with Noopster as well.
For sure, bro. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you
very
much.
much.